Raise your hand if you've ever made a big mistake. Yep. Well, me too. And if your hand isn't raised, well, I don't believe you at all. We all make mistakes, and unfortunately, you're going to make more of them. And so am I. But in today's episode, I am teaching you a simple framework to ensure that you emerge from mistakes with integrity and without taking a major hit to either your confidence or your reputation. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. Something really embarrassing happened to me recently. Or rather, I did something really embarrassing. This thing I did, it probably would have made anyone feel bad, but for me as a time management coach, it felt really bad. It felt out of character, and if I'm being honest, a little bit shameful. But instead of sitting in that shame, I'm just going to share it with you because I need to practice what I preach, and that's self-compassion. And the fact that I can only move forward because I cannot change the past as much as I would like to. So here goes. I'm going to tell you what I did. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, so when I'm done, I'm also going to tell you how I repaired the damage. So here's what happened. So recently, a very kind reporter reached out to me because she wanted to interview me for a piece that she was doing about how to unplug on vacation. And you better believe that I have a whole lot to say about that topic. She'd seen one of my YouTube videos about the topic, and she wanted to know more. She was on a deadline and my week was pretty busy, but I thought, you know what? I really enjoy being interviewed, so I'm going to schedule this on Friday. And Friday is a day that I don't usually work. And so I did. I scheduled it for Friday. And I thought I was covered in the, quote, remembering department because it was scheduled right after another work-adjacent call with a colleague and friend. This is the kind of thing that I do schedule on Fridays because it's so fun. It doesn't really feel like work. And I assumed that I'd get a little meeting notification because I was doing the other call on Zoom and I was going to be on my computer. Note to self, never rely on memory. Oh my God, how have I not learned this lesson, right? In fact, my very first blog post ever was about not relying on memory. Well, we all make mistakes, right? So then the day came. And I decided to take that first call from my phone. And I don't have any notifications on my phone, which usually works out really well for me and in my favor, but not this time. And then my first call ran long. And because I don't usually work on Fridays, it just totally slipped my mind that I had something after this call. So I then proceeded to have a wonderful, blissfully unaware of my error weekend. And on Monday morning, I opened my email, and to my absolute horror, I saw an email from this reporter from Friday saying that she was waiting for me on the Zoom and hoped I was okay. Shame and guilt immediately flooded my body. My face flushed, turned bright red, heated up. My heart started thumping as I realized that I had left this poor reporter who was on a deadline hanging, and that I had broken my number one value, which is accountability, albeit not on purpose. So then I took a deep breath, or 5, and I reminded myself that I can only move forward. As much as I'd like to change the past, I cannot, right? I can only move forward just like the rest of us. And then I used the handling mistakes with integrity framework that I developed many, many years ago. And I'm going to share with you in just a second. This framework has served me very well over the years, both personally and professionally, because you know what? I have made a lot of mistakes. And I've taught it to everyone I've ever managed. And I teach it in the Managing Up workshop that I lead for many of my corporate clients. And, of course, I have just used it over and over again because I will make mistakes. I just will. And you will too. So the framework, what is it? So first, it is take responsibility, right? Own up to it. You've made a mistake. Just take immediately responsibility. It is never a good thing when somebody else hears about your mistake from someone other than you. So as much as it hurts, don't sweep it under the rug. Just take responsibility, own up to it right away. And then answer 4 questions. 4 questions that you can answer to the person who you have harmed with your mistake. And if you haven't harmed anyone but yourself with your mistake, you can use these same 4 questions as well. So what are they? Number 1, what happened, right? What led to this? Number 2, how did it happen, right? Number 3, what am I doing to fix it? And number 4, what am I doing to make sure it doesn't happen again? And so what did I do? I immediately, without delay, emailed that reporter and I profusely apologized. I told her what happened and how, a truncated version of that. I told her the what and the how, right? I told her that if she still wanted to interview me, I would move around my schedule to accommodate hers. And I also sent over a list of written tips and quotes that she could use if she no longer had time to interview me given her tight deadline. So this was the what am I doing to fix it? And while I didn't think that this situation warranted me telling the reporter how I was going to make sure it never happens again, I did actually make a plan for myself. I decided that if in the future I ever decide to schedule someone on a day that I don't usually work, that I will also add an alarm to my phone for 2 minutes beforehand, and I will label that alarm with the name of the person or the purpose of the call so that I won't miss it, right? Look, I am a real person. I do not always get it right. This is a mistake, missing a meeting, right? That I have only made a handful of times in my entire adult life because I have systems, so many systems. But this time, the instant just slipped through the cracks of my system, right? Now, I can't change what happened, and I refuse to beat myself up over it, at least not repeatedly, right? At least not after that first day. But what I can do is update my systems to accommodate this edge case. So you might be wondering, how did the reporter respond? Did she respond? And she did with absolute grace. She got back to me and she said, these things happen, right? The moral of the story? Well, I found out that if you follow the handling mistakes framework, when you make a mistake, and you will, because we all will, that the person you've harmed actually responds much better than you might anticipate. The reason? Well, this framework, it does 3 things for you. It shows the other party that you're, number 1, accountable for what you've done. Number 2, that you're capable, right? You're not just a screw up here. And number 3, that you are teachable. You're making it better. You're moving it forward. And because you answered up front any question that they might already have had, right? That's what those 4 questions do. There's actually not that much else for them to say about it. So the next time you make a mistake, at work or otherwise, instead of sweeping your mistake under the rug and hoping it'll just blow over, or getting defensive, or hiding yourself away, or berating yourself, or ruminating on it, how about trying this framework? And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe now so that you can save yourself time in the future and never miss an episode. It'll take 5 seconds to hit subscribe, and the payoff will be big. You'll never have to think about it again. And pro tip, you'll be using the decide once strategy and saving yourself from the fate of decision fatigue. Do yourself this quick kindness, and I'll see you next time.